As crazy as this may sound, this is my first year doing traditional fantasy football, playing with my friends. My friend finally convinced me. I always avoided it because I'm a hardcore sports bettor. I have my focus. But I mean, at this point, I have placed tens of thousands of bets. I've done hundreds of parlays, thousands of parlays. I feel like I'm an expert in sports betting. So I'm branching out into traditional fantasy football, and I'm going to be playing with my friends. If anyone has an interest in doing a league with me, just shoot me a DM on Twitter, or you can comment below with your league and I'll join it. I'm really excited about it because I've been spending a ton of time researching, and I'm going to take all your guys' money in fantasy football. But anyways, the point of this video is I'm going to run you through some different tools that I found to prepare for my fantasy draft. I'm a little nervous, being on the clock. So I figured I would look into different tools, and that's kind of the point of this video. I'm going to run through the RotoWire Mock Draft Simulator, kind of show you how it works, and hopefully I beat all of you guys in fantasy football this year. So my fantasy league is on Yahoo. I'm not sure if that's the best place to play traditional fantasy football. I obviously do a lot of fantasy pick'em, sites like Prize Picks, but I ended up seeing the words RotoWire a fair amount of times, and they have a bunch of different tools, stuff for sports betting, but what I kind of zoned in on and find really helpful, just as I prepare, is their mock draft simulator. This honestly kind of reminds me to when I started trading. So I started trading at a quant trading firm called Susquehanna International Group, and the way it worked is your entire first year, you don't actually trade real money. They do something called a trading simulator. It's also called mock trading, where basically you're following the stock market, derivatives markets, actual orders coming in, but you're only playing with fake money, right? And it's to zone in, improve your trading skills before the stakes are actually higher and you're trading real money and can lose millions of dollars. So this is kind of the same thing. If you want to beat your friends, your family, your coworkers in fantasy football and take this seriously, I take all my gambling seriously, you want to use a mock draft simulator, especially if you're new to fantasy. Like, I find it very confusing, as kind of even a sports bettor, like just knowing what to do. Should I pick a wide receiver first, a running back first? But anyways, you can name your draft, select the number of teams, the scoring settings, all that, but I think that's pretty, intuitive. So let's go to build your own plan. So this is what I found helpful, is you can kind of customize when do you want to take risk, right? Do you want to have a balanced approach? Do you want to aim for upside early in later rounds? What exactly do you want to do? Like, do you want to take a rookie who maybe has star potential, or if a main target, a main wide receiver gets injured? So you can kind of customize all these settings. So maybe like early rounds, we play it safe. Middle rounds, maybe we play it safe too. And then in the later rounds, we aim for upside. Obviously, again, you can customize this completely, but let's just say we want to start out with that. And then here we'll just stick to balanced. So basically you can kind of rank what's most important to you. Consistency, like players who are consistent, basically every single week they're playing, they're getting results. So you can kind of just, age, for example, I don't really think age is that important. Like, yeah, old people are more likely to get injured, but Tom Brady. So what I can kind of do is just like change around some of these things. Again, this is just a demo video. I've spent a ton of time playing with this, but like consistency to me is important. Team offense ranking, last year's performance, maybe I downweight that, right? Like historical data doesn't necessarily indicate future data. So what I can do, bye week conflicts, let's move that. Early season strength, what do I like best? Offensive line quality, playoff strength schedule. But anyways, I don't want to spend too long on this. So what you can do too is add in players you like. Obviously, I'm a Commanders fan. For me, this isn't that important. Like, I don't really care. I don't need Jaden Daniels or, Debo Samuel on my fantasy team. But if you want to add in a player you're really passionate about or something like that, maybe we can add it in. So, for example, like Brian Robinson, I like him a lot. One of my favorite Commanders players. So, sure, we can add him in. Any players you're not excited to draft. Who do I think is overrated? Justin Jefferson for sure. So we're going to add in him. Who else do I think is overrated? CeeDee Lamb, no thank you. Genty, no thank you. McCaffrey, no thank you, even though I went to school with him. So again, I want to keep this video somewhat brief. You can add a draft strategy. What exactly? So you can wait on a position. But anyways, let's just finish this. Let's get this rolling. So what this is going to do, really cool, is it's going to take all the info you kind of put in, your position, all these different things, and it's going to recommend players. So you can see here, it's like Jamar Chase is the top. This would be the top pick, is taking Jamar Chase, but it gives you a bunch of different options, right? Saquon, Bijan Robinson, and it kind of tells you why. Why should you select this player in this round? Number one running back left on the board, 99%. Unsurprisingly, Saquon's 99% to be drafted before the next round. So in general, you probably want to take the top player, right? So if I'm in this position in my real draft, when I'm playing against my friends, my family, I'm probably going to want to take Jamar Chase. But what you can also do, so let's just draft Chase. I'm a big fan of that. He's got Joe Burrow as quarterback, so it's kind of going to simulate what other people do. And now I'm on the clock once again. So here, Kyren Williams, 99% to be drafted for the next round, right? I already have Chase. Do I want to take Chase Brown? Maybe that kind of balances out the variance. But you can look at kind of a bunch of tools, right? This has kind of ratings for players. You can see where other people are currently standing. And what else can you do? You can do a bunch of different things, right? What positions have been drafted so far? You can see that here. So you can look at a bunch of different analytics. I mean, it's a very in-depth platform, which is pretty interesting. You can search players. You can do a bunch of things. But let's just go back here. Again, for me, what's really valuable is just getting an understanding of, okay, given that Josh Allen, A.J. Brown, all these other players were drafted already, who do I want to go with, right? And obviously, for the most part, you want to take the number one suggestion and ideally just do a bunch of these simulations. It doesn't take that long to do. So I just drafted Williams. Okay, cool. Now who do I want to take? Do I want to take Tyreek? Or do I want to get more aggressive? So again, you can kind of read through everything. It'll simulate what other people are taking, and which is kind of cool. It's good practice. This is very similar to what I remember, in some ways, mock trading as a trader at SIG. So here we have George Pickens. I'm not the biggest fan. I probably should have excluded him. How do I feel about Sutton? Honestly, I kind of like Sutton. So let's run with him. And again, you can kind of go back to this cheat sheet. Rosters kind of shows you where other people are stacking up. Team 5 has Joe Burrow, Bijan Robinson. Pretty scary team, but regardless, you can kind of look at a bunch of different things, which I think is pretty valuable. But sure, I'm a fan of James Conner. Let's go. What can I get next? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm fine with this. So again, not super complicated, but I do think it's useful, even just if you remember roughly, looking through, okay, these players have been drafted. You can kind of start to get a sense of what should you do in specific situations. If you're playing in different leagues, 12-team, 14-team, you can try out different stuff like that, different scoring systems as well, and the recommendations will change. But regardless, let's see what we can do here. So here you can see, okay, Diggs. Ooh. Matthew Golden is before Diggs. Diggs is drama, bro. Jaden Reed, I kind of love. Yeah. So I'm not always following the top projection. Brock Purdy, big fan. Let's take Brock. I'm a big fan of Brock Purdy, so let's run him. And again, I kind of want to get to the end because this is obviously taking a minute. Dalton, huge fan of. Josh Allen, quarterback. And again, you can kind of like, depending on how much you want to, every single round, you can go to the Insights tab. You can look at rosters of what the opposing teams have. Start to get a sense of what round players are going in. But overall, obviously, I mean, so much of my sports betting content is about maximizing your edge, finding the highest positive expected value bets. JJ McCarthy, yeah, sure. Over Trevor Lawrence, a little surprising maybe, but we'll run it. Super interesting. But anyways, we'll kind of run through the rest of this and then I'll show you what shows up. But again, all the suggestions you put in, there's a ton of analytics going into it to try to show you what would be, I mean, again, you can just follow the default settings, but if there's players you want to avoid, you hate the player, you just don't think they're going to perform this season for whatever reason, you think you have inside information that's not already priced into the market, you can basically kind of use this simulator. So should we take Tyler Bass? Sure, we'll run it. So now you can see my pick, my team, and my draft grade, right? So unsurprisingly, I'm going to get a pretty good draft grade. Obviously, I'm following, in general, the recommended pick, the optimal pick, according to all of the different analytics. So then you can kind of see your team. You can compare to other teams. What are their draft grades? There's a lot of interesting things you can do there. But again, like me personally, I just run through a bunch of these, right? Like I look through all different types of leagues I'm going to play in, friends, family, whatever. And then different numbers of teams, stuff like that, kind of compare everything. And I think it's a valuable tool, RotoWire, so check it out. I know this isn't a video about sports betting, but regardless, I hope you enjoyed it. Like and comment with any questions. And again, thanks so much for your time.